Hey, welcome back to Matt's Garage DIY. Today we're going to be restoring Remington Model 31. A few months ago I did a video on the complete disassembly of the Model 31. You can click on the link above to check that out. This video we're not really getting into that at all. Basically just going to take my 31 that's been in the family for I think about 60 years, showing some age. Just going to kind of clean it all up. So I'll show you what parts of it are worn out. But in short, we're going to refinish the wood. We're going to do a little touch up on the bluing. Also have some cracks in the foregrip there. So just going to kind of fix those things. So just kind of fun video, making this old beauty look like new. So taking a look at some of the areas that we're going to repair. First off, on the stock, you can see lots of wear marks, lots of scratches, aftermarket butt plate, very worn out. Stock has been cut somewhere along the line. So I'm going to replace this, we'll remove the stock, and refinish that wood. As we look at the fore end again, you can see a lot of the finish is gone, crack right through this area. Don't know that that'll show up, but it looks like somebody's tried to glue this at one point in time. So we're going to pop this off as well and refinish that. And thirdly, we're going to touch up the bluing. Body of the or the action area is all actually pretty good, but you can see kind of along all these edges, a lot of the bluing is worn off. So I'm just going to try to touch those up. It's going to be tough to kind of match that. This is sort of a very, almost a flat gray kind of finish. But we're going to see what I can do to finish or to touch that up. And then again, the slide, a lot of the finish has been worn off of this. There's some marks on the barrel. I'm not going to strip everything and completely reblue it. I'm going to see if I can just touch up the existing bluing. So here's the major pieces stripped down with the fore end. I'm not sure how to get this metal piece out of the middle. If you know how to do that the right way, please post that in the comments, share it. I'm sure everybody would be very appreciative of that. But with what I'm doing, I'm confident that I can refinish this wood and touch up that bluing with this still as one piece. And then you can see a little more clearly some of the bluing that's worn off this. Again, nice big line that's been worn off on the barrel and all those scuff marks on the stock. I'm going to start with the wood. I'm just going to use some like furniture stripper to strip the old coating off, and then I'll give it a light sand, and then I'm going to do probably about 6 coats of True Oil. For the bluing, I will be using either Perma Blue or Brown Isles Oxo Blue. This is what I'm going to be using for paint stripper or the varnish remover. Eco-friendly, just picked this up at my hardware store. There are lots of different brands out there. So I'm going to take these pieces to the slop sink, put a bunch of this stuff on, and let it soak in. All right, here we're at the sink. Just use an old paint lid. Pour on a bunch of this stuff. It's a little container. And then grab an old toothbrush. All the paint stripper has now been removed, allowed to dry, and given a light sand with 220. So with the stock stripped and ready for finishing, I thought I'd play around with some stains. I tried a red Cabernet, Colonial American, Special Walnut, Dark Walnut, and a Kona. Very much is going to come down to personal preference as far as which one you choose. I just thought I'd show you these so you could get an idea of each and how they kind of look on the stock. Certainly the Special Walnut up in the top really shows the grain. The dark fibers in the wood really kind of pop if that's the look you're going for. The red is also quite nice. That's probably not the look I'm going to go for, but does really show up the grain. I used this on a laminated stock and was really good for showing up those layers in the plywood. So I ended up going with the Special Walnut stain. That was kind of a game day decision. I sort of flip-flopped back and forth between the two, but in the end, I'm going to try to keep this as original as possible, or original look as possible. So went with the Special Walnut. You can see really nice, shows all that grain. Basically give that a quick sand with 220, clean it really well, wipe the stain on, let it set for 5 or 10 minutes, kind of depends on the brand or type you're using, and wipe it off and let it dry. Cleaning this piece was definitely a challenge. The paint stripper worked to a degree, but not perfect. I ended up having to really sand kind of in each of these little grooves. But when I got it stripped, you can also see this piece has been replaced. Somewhere along the line, obviously this piece broke. Somebody has made a new piece, put it in there. I'm not going to pop it back out. I'm going to leave it. They did a reasonably good job of fitting it, matching up the grooves, but it has started to crack a little bit again there. So on the inside, kind of right in here, I'm going to mix up some 2-part epoxy, just kind of put that in there, help to kind of reinforce that. Then I will stain this, then we'll move on to the finishing, or the true oil. So I've mixed up some 2-part epoxy. Just going to fill in this groove right here, let that set. With the coat of stain applied, you can more clearly see now where the patch piece was. So I'm going to take a darker stain, see if I can darken up that portion, make it blend a little bit better. Probably not going to get it perfect, but I would like it to be a little closer than that. Not a perfect match, but after playing around with some different stains, a little bit closer. The stain is dry. Now it's time for the finish. I'm going to be using Birchwood KC True Oil. I've used it a number of times. Very simple to use, and I've had great results. First up, make sure your pieces are dust-free. Give them a wipe with a tack cloth or something like that. I have attached pieces of wire to the ends of each piece so that after I put the coat on, I can hang it to dry. It just helps to prevent dust from sticking to it. So the instructions say light coat of oil, wipe on a light coat of oil. I'll just be wiping on using the blue shop towel. So wipe on a light coat of oil, hang it and let it dry. They recommend a couple hours. I typically am busy, so we'll do like 1 coat a day, allowing it to dry roughly 24 hours. After that first coat is dry, buff it with double-aught steel wool, apply another coat. Repeat that as many times as you need. I will often do 6 or 7 coats, and then you're done. First coat on the stock. Now I'm going to hang it to dry. To fill some of the time in between our mini slow coats of the true oil, we're going to do the bluing on the gun. So I'm not completely rebluing this, but as you can see on the magazine tube, a bunch of wear marks. There are some smaller marks on the barrel itself. So I'm just going to go through, touch up those spots, try to blend this a little bit better. Rebluing or using this cold bluing process is never as good as sort of having your gun kind of completely refinished. But this is an affordable option that you can do at home. Pick up one of these bottles, much cheaper than the $200-300 that you would pay to have somebody completely reblue your gun for you. So first step, you're going to want to clean the areas that are going to be reblued very well. They recommend denatured alcohol. I oftentimes will use lacquer thinner. That's just something I have on hand. Do that. You apply the PermaBlue, let it soak for about a minute, rinse it off, and then you can repeat that process as many times as you need to sort of darken the bluing. The first coat you put on, you're going to see a big result, and then the subsequent coats after that, very small incremental progress. One thing I have found on the later coats to help that process is actually using a piece of fine steel wool as the applicator. That, for some reason, seems to darken up the bluing a little bit quicker, a little bit better, kind of really sort of scrubbing that into the metal as I go. So we'll do that. I'm just going to start bluing these pieces up. We'll get this gun looking a little bit better. Step 1, using some lacquer thinner now. We're going to clean all the oil off of this magazine tube, and then we will start rebluing it. You can see all the dirt and oil that's coming off that. Want this to be nice and clean. Oil is really sort of your enemy when you're doing the rebluing. That seems to counteract the effects of the bluing compound. So give this a real good wipe. Basically keep doing this till you don't see anything else coming off in your cloth. Still getting a little bit there, so just wipe this a little bit more. We'll let that dry, and then we'll start bluing. First coat of the PermaBlue. So soak our little applicator here. Again, just using blue shop paper towel, and then start wiping that on. Right away, you can see how quickly that darkens up. So we're going to put on a nice heavy coat. I'm going to do the full barrel, all 4 sides, or sorry, all the way around, not all 4 sides. We'll let that soak in for about a minute, rinse it off, and then we'll see what we need for additional coats. So this is now 4 coats of PermaBlue. As you can see, those wear marks have pretty much all disappeared. After I was finished with the bluing, I then gave this a very heavy coat of oil, let that soak for 48 hours, and then wiped it off. The stock and foregrip now have 8 coats of true oil. As you can see, a nice shiny finish. And the last part of the restoration was a new recoil pad. So there's a look at the final product. This old gun has a new life. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, click that like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.